Hello folks, welcome to the Flying Stuff on the channel. Now, someone in my community by the name of Richrail, hello mate, asked me to do a comparison video between the standard class 101 and the expert DBBR class 101. I can see they're both here, standard on the left, expert on the right. So, I suppose the question is, how easy are these things to, get going in the morning when, you're at the depot and you're about to start shifting and you need to take your train out, but the train needs to be set up. So, let's see how long it takes for it to do it. So, for round one is the startup challenge. So, basically, how long does it take me to get the train active and moving before, taking off? So, here we go. So, the standard DB101, let's hop into it and start it up and try and get it moving. So, get in the loco. Now, this one is very simple to do. So, battery, signal lights, parking brake, screens are already alive, sit in here, key, bang, turn on the safeties, raise the pantograph. Pantograph's up. Close the circuit breaker. Wait for the train starting up. Release the brakes. And away we go. That was like 30 seconds in order to get the train going from cold and dark. Now we will try not to spad. But there you go. That's how easy this thing is to get going. So, we'll release the brakes and we'll pull the train back. We'll pull the train back to where it was. There you go. That is how easy it is to start up the standard 101. So if you like nice and easy. Oops, I derailed. And that was only the standard 101. Right, back in a sec. And it's like as nothing ever happened. So, here we go. Right, back with the Expert 101. How do you start that thing up? Well, let me walk you through the process. So, first, I've got the manual pulled up for a cold start. So, what you're going to do is first make sure the locomotive is under overhead wires. Yep, there's overhead wires. Good. Then what we need to do is hop inside this loco. And then what we need to do is turn on the batteries just to get the loco booted up. So as you can see, there's a full boot up sequence for all the screens. So that will take a couple of minutes to do. Whilst that's booting, we need to set the pantograph as required. Manual just says keep it on auto. So unless you've got a dodgy pantograph, then obviously you can switch between 1 and 2 quite easily. Next, we need to set the head and tail lights as required. So we will set the head and tails. Okay, and then ensure the parking brake is set. The parking brake is set. Check that all the circuit breakers on both this back wall and the engine room are set. Circuit breakers. There's your ZDE. There we go. Ah, circuit breakers. There you go. Yep, they're all closed. Cool. And then we can pop into here. This is your machine room. So here you've got your valves for various things like your PCB, your CFA, and even your brakes. So if you close the brake valve, you're not going to be stopping. And then you've got a very handy diagram showing what they all do, except as a German. I can't read the thing. If we come over here, we need to make sure all of these are set. Which most of these are. The only one that isn't is the compressor, because the train haven't turned the compressor on yet. These are all good. They're starting up. Perfect. So once that's done, we can then come back out here. That's one of the big differences. The standard 101 doesn't have a machine, whereas the expert one for TrainSim-Germany does. So yes, and you can mess around with a ton of stuff. And then, what does it say? Sit in the driver's seat, insert the reverser and set to neutral. Wait for the screens to boot up. This could take over a minute. Well, the screens are arrive. Raise the pantograph and close the MCB. That sounds like a pantograph. That is the pantograph. Okay, so obviously we've now got voltage, so I can just close the pantograph. There you go. And then the train starts coming alive. Check if there are any faults on this train by pressing the ST button. There's a fault. What's the fault? Oh, it sounds awesome with this thing booting up, waking up. There we go. Right, so that translates to emergency braking with rapid braking support. Check for train separation, emergency fire valve, tap open or leaking air shutter valves, and locate other noise sources and determine their cause. Well, as far as I know, the valve should be as they should be, so there we go. Right, next thing. Unlock the braking key. So let's unlock the brake key. We'll also start releasing the direct brake. And also start releasing the train brakes. And wait for the brake system to charge up. There we go. So as you can see, the brake pressures are coming down. Obviously, we've got 5 bar on the main brakes, and obviously nothing on the directs. Cool. Then we need to set up the ZDE. Now, the ZDE is basically how you control your setup for the PCB and LZB. LZB, sorry, I'm British, I should say Z. Right, so what you got to do is so there's 4 types of train data that need to be entered into this. So you've got your BRA and your brake type. There are 3 different brake types you need. So 2, which are 2, 4, and 9. So when driving a passenger train, you need to enter number 9. We are a passenger train because we've got passenger coaches on the rear of our locomotive. 2 is for freight trains with the G brake mode, and 4 is for freight trains using the P mode. 9 allows the use of P, R, and R plus MG brake modes. So, yes, that's your braking mode, effectively. Then you've got your brake weight percentage. This requires calculating, but it is attainable. If using a typical IEC contest for TSW, which we are, the value is 180. So you can enter 18. Now, if you're not using a typical contest, there is a way you can get the data you need. So basically, first you need to walk around the train and get both the train mass and brake weight of every carriage. For the BR101 and IC carriages, which means the brake weight of the BR101 itself, each individual type of coach are occupied by the number there are plus the cab car. So on the 101, the single value to the left is the train mass. Everything right of that is the brake weight for a set brake mode. Difference between R and E and RE 160 if the final result is above or or under a BRH of 170. If under R&E, otherwise use RE 160. In a typical IC consist RE 160 is used, so note 84 tons of train mass and 168 tons of brake weight. For the carriages and cab car, note the R plus MG value for the brake weight by default. If calculating for a BRH value of less than 170, subtract 8 tons from every carriage's brake weight. The train mass is further to the left. Always use the heavy value, the maximum mass for this carriage. Then you can move back to the cab and look at the Ebola screen. So, voila. Let me actually just close up on it, if I can. There we go. So here's your Ebola screen. So what you then need to do is hit zero, and then click 9 for system tools. And then press 2 for the BRH calculator. Oh, this is handy. And then you can then enter your brake weight and train mass as well into there, and then it'll give you your BRH. So if you've got a custom contest, this is how you're going to do it. Basically making it so much easier for you, because, yes. Right, back to this. So then we need to then go over here. Once we got our final number, we need to go over here, and then you can then see your BRH IMSUG and then what you need to enter into the system. We've got 180 as our number that we need, so that's what we're going to use. And then in the manual there's a very handy sheet which is basically the same as what we're looking at now. And then there's also the way you do it for the cab car, which we'll come to in a bit. So then you've got your train length as well. So luckily there's a way to cheat with this. Just sit in your cab, go over here, go to overview. We are 256.2 meters, so we are. But then we need to multiply it to the nearest 10. We need to round it to the nearest 10, so we need 260. 26. There we go. And then your VMZ is your maximum train speed. In this, it's just 200 kilometers an hour, because that's the maximum the BR101 can go. There we go. And then you hit your sun train data. If the values are accepted, brilliant. Then that means you're good to go. But what if you have the MFD variant, I hear you ask? Well, let me spawn in an MFD variant and I'll show you. So 101 DBBR 101 Expert MFD. There we go. So here's the MFD variant. But hang on a minute, where's our panel for the ZDE? Well, I hear you ask. You come in here, and then what you need to then do is you click 4, then 1. This is the same panel, so you can then enter the values that you need in here, and then once you've done that, you can then obviously enter your values. Although it seems to have frozen on this screen. There we go. ZDE. Although it seems to not like us today on this variant, but basically once you've done, you hit enter twice and then acknowledge with your PVB. Shut up. There we go. Right, so let's delete our train again as a freight train goes past. Right, let's hold back in the 101 Expert 101 that we were using. Then once that's done, once the ZDE is done, then basically this train is ready to drive. So we can just basically do a case of enabling make sure the electric train supply is on, which it is. Popping the train into forward, releasing our brakey, release the brake, and We've got a no faults detected. We have a photo problem. MBUEP. Is that supposed to be on? Yeah, it's on. Okay. Oh, hang on a second. I know why we're not moving. We need to turn off the parking brake. There we go. So parking brake is off. The three now come sit in the loco. And then we should be able to then move. And that took about 10 minutes just to get going from cold and dark. Which there is a couple of things we didn't do, such as make sure the PDB-LZB is working. There you go. So this is just running a full test of the safety systems. So there you go, and then we'll just reverse it back in. Hopefully not derailing this time. Right, what does that mean? Do I need to press a button in order to engage reverse? Translate. FRB. Yes, I know it's not in. FRBU not in position F. So there you go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this locomotive into the station and then we can show something else off. So if I hit accept, there we go. We'll release the brake. And then we will pull into the station. Just waiting for it to say we're safe to release. As we pull in. So we can show off the other feature of this Expert 101 pack. Obviously, safety systems are going to be on by default in this, hence I didn't turn them on in the beginning. We need to stay below 45 kph. kmh. It's fine, we can do that. DFA. Also, if you didn't notice, so if you haven't noticed, I am on the new Cole Arkham remaster, which came out on the day I'm recording this. So yes, we'll do a video on this soon. I just wanted to get a couple of the request ones out the way. So yes, there we go. Oh, not bad. There we go. Right, so we are here now. But I need to turn around and head back towards Cone. Not a problem. Set the brakes to full set. So we'll shut this cab down. And then set the Z. So we need to enable multiple unit modes. So we need to pop the ZXS switch into ZWS to allow us to use the cab car. So what we then need to do is, since this one's now going to be tail, we'll pop the set it to use the tail lights. Get out of our 101. And we will walk to the other end of the train. Also, can I just say that I've only just hopped onto the remaster to do this, and it's looking like really good. I have to say that. There you go. Pringles! Okay, people, I'm going to put a poll in the top right-hand corner. I need you to vote. What's the best flavour of Pringles? For me, it's Texas barbecue, however, you could disagree with me. Which is fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. There we go. Right, so here we are at the other end of the train. So what we then need to do is we can then get our door key and we need to open up the door to let us into the cab car. We can then close the door. And lock the door. Now, before we enter the cab car, we need to press some buttons. So what we need to do is, so you need to go, so there's a little cabinet here on the left, the tail light cabinet. We need to go in here and make sure that is already set to on, which it is. Okay, and then we need to enable the battery on the back wall of the cab car. Which it is on. Cool. Then we need to make sure that the circuit breakers on the back wall are set. Okay, just look for the red lines. If they're all pointing up, happy days. All good. And then we need to set the external lights to display the headlights. So we can do that by using our little switch down there. Cool. And then we need to sit in the driving seat and set the reverser to forward. There we go. And then once we've done that, we need to test the remote connection. So what we need to do is we need to open the main circuit breaker. And lower the pantograph. And as you can see, the connection works because our pantograph has lowered. And then we don't need to raise the pantograph again. Which, yep, it's coming back up. Cool. And now we can then close the main circuit breaker. And we just need to check the HSOs is, and then the HSOs indicator should be off. Epic, it is. Then we need to unlock the brake key on this cab car and release the braking system. And then we need to set the direct brake to keep the train from rolling. Cool. Then we need to pop back here. We need to do our ZDE. Same as last time, so we'll just put the same values in that we had last time. 9, 18, 2, 6. We go 200 kilometers an hour. Hit your send button. Same as before. It's accepted. Happy days. And then what we then need to do is we then need to enable the electric train supply, which is on. Epic. So then what we then can do is we can make sure the brakes are released. So if we release the direct brake now, set a path. Yes, we're going back into the depot because there we go. If I set the path to wherever we stuck our 101 previous, the other 101. Where have I stuck it? We'll go for this siding quickly, just for demonstration purposes. We can then. Ooh, store unfold. What we got? Right. What we got? We've got. That should all be good. Right, there we go. And this one supports a tap changer style system. We want it. And we are moving! And then it just moves the exact same. You've got the exact same controls to move the cab car. And we can just pilot this back into the depot. There's the standard 101. And we've already made it angry. Yay! Probably because we were speeding. Right. Release. Shut up. Thank you. Yeah, this supports tap changing as well. So if you like German tap changers, then that's an option you have. And then obviously we can just move the train back in. Happy days, you're good. So, yes. That is basically the main differences between a standard 101 and the expert 101. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to, like, subscribe, comment down below which you prefer and all that. And yeah. See you soon. Alright, have a great day. Bye!